What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Marv, and today we are going to be doing a live reaction to the news that former Miami Dolphins coach Brian Flores is apparently suing the NFL and alleging racism in the hiring practices. I literally was just scrolling through Twitter, saw the snooze, and figured it would be best to do a live reaction to it because this is huge. This is absolutely huge news. We could take a quick read at this blurb here. In a lengthy lawsuit, Brian Flores has filed a class action lawsuit against the NFL and three teams, the Dolphins, the Broncos, and the Giants, alleging they have engaged in racist and discriminatory practices against black coaches. Allegations in the suit include Dolphins owner Stephen Ross offering to pay Flores an extra $100,000 per loss during the 2019 season, and Ross trying to get him to recruit a prominent quarterback who was under contract to another team, violating tampering rules. The lawsuit also says the Giants scheduled a fake interview with Flores last week to comply with the Rooney Rule, and that Flores learned that his interview was fake because his former boss, Patriots coach Bill Belichick, mistakenly texted him a congratulatory message thinking that the Giants were going to hire him. New York instead ended up hiring Brian DeBole. Flores also said the Broncos put him through a similar interview 3 years ago with no intention of considering for the job. This is huge. This is huge, ladies and gentlemen. This is absolutely huge. This is huge. This is huge. I actually just, here we go. I actually just saw, apparently these are the screenshots from the text message thread that's also being included in the Brian Flores lawsuit. As mentioned in the blurb, this thread is apparently a text message conversation, iMessage conversation that's taking place between Bill Belichick and Brian Flores. I believe Brian Flores is I think he's from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, if I remember correctly. So this conversation was between Brian Flores and Bill Belichick pertaining to this whole hiring circuit that's going on. And apparently, Mr. Belichick confused Brian Flores for Brian DeBall. Wrong Brian, Bill. It's a lot of B's going on, by the way. Bill, Brian Flores, Brian DeBall, BBB. No LeVar Ball. There's a lot of B's going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of B's. But this is the thread. So Bill Belichick texts Brian Flores, sounds like you have landed. Congrats. And then Brian Flores texts him back, did you hear something I didn't? Giants? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. I interview on Thursday. I think I have a shot at it. Got it. I hear from Buffalo and at New York Giants that you are their guy. Hope it works out if you want it to. That's definitely what I want. I hope you're right, coach. Thank you. Coach, are you talking to Brian Flores or Brian DeBall? Just making sure. And then in the next screenshot, it says, sorry, fuck, I don't want to curse in the video. I effed this up. I double checked and misread the text. I think they are naming Brian DeBall. I'm sorry about that, BB. And then he texts him back, thanks, Bill. And the tone in which he texts him back lets him, like, it's very like somber, and it's very like his mood went from bang to bang. And in that moment, he kind of realized what exactly was going on. But I mean, common mistake. Brian Flores, Brian DeBall, you mixing up your Bryans. I don't know if he don't got them saved on the first and last name basis, but Bill Belichick, you got to get it together. Moreover, I'm surprised Bill Belichick even has an iPhone. I'm the type of guy, I wouldn't be surprised if in 2022 Bill Belichick had a flip phone. He seems like the type of person is not interested in speaking to anybody unless it's by way of phone call. So, yeah, here we are. Man, this is messy. This is real messy. Now, unlike a lot of people, I'm not big on TNN and TNNBC and all that. My news comes from Twitter. All right. There's two things I make sure I get from Twitter, and that's news pertaining to anything and everything that I'm interested in, and then also, something else that's a little bit rated R that we're not gonna get into. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about Brian Flores. We're talking about Brian Flores. This is huge. In all seriousness, though, this is very huge because, for one, this man is now putting his future as a coach in the NFL on the line. This is very similar to the Colin Kaepernick situation. You have a guy that's stepping up and essentially being a martyr for an issue that's much larger than him and has been around for some time, and that's this underlying discrimination that's existed within the head coaching circuit within the NFL. At the time of this recording, there's currently only one black head coach in the National Football League, and that is the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin. Before that was, of course, until Brian Flores. Well, that's what it is now, given that Brian Flores just lost his job from the Dolphins. And I think was there any other black head coach? I know another one that I can think of off the top of my head is dude that was a head coach of the Cardinals before Cliff Kingsbury came in, Steve Wilkes. And then also there was Anthony Lynn, who also lost his job at the Chargers. And then there's a couple others that I think I'm forgetting. But yeah, here we are. This is essentially a man who is making himself a martyr for a cause that is much larger than just his career. This is a problem that's been going on in the National Football League for as long as we can remember. Such a large problem, in fact, that they had to go and enforce a rule that most of us know that is called the Rooney Rule. Now, for those who don't know, the Rooney Rule essentially is a rule that requires every NFL team to host at least one. I don't know if it's specifically black or if it's a person of color. I'm going to say person of color, but that they're basically every NFL team during any if I remember correctly, is during any head coaching hiring circuit, they are required to interview at least one black candidate. And this rule was kind of put in place to help solve an issue that's very difficult to solve, in that it doesn't make sense that there are 32 teams in the NFL and there's only one black head coach over all these teams. But at the same time, Roger Goodell, being the commissioner, can't force NFL owners, presidents, GMs, and just NFL front offices in general to say you have to hire a black coach. That's just not how it works. So they kind of gave to kind of as like a consolation to the fact that they can't force NFL teams to hire black, credible head coaches. The Rooney Rule was created. I'm not sure when it was created, but it was created so that, to help give a lot of these credible black coaching candidates an opportunity to get their foot to at least get their foot in the door. However, we all know that the easy way for a lot of these front offices to get around this is essentially what Brian Flores kind of highlighted, which is holding fake interviews where they already know that they have their guy, but just so that they can reach that quota, they're going to host David Culley. I just remembered. David Culley also lost his job this past offseason, who's also a black head coach of the Houston Texans. We're going to get into that. But the way that these NFL front offices are able to find a way around the Rooney Rule is essentially doing what Brian Flores highlighted, holding fake interviews to where they know they're not going to hire this candidate, but they also know that they have a quota to uphold with the Rooney Rule. So they hold their interview just so that they can say, hey, look, we interviewed a black guy, but I think we're going to go with this dude. And that's been an ongoing problem that's been here for some time. Now, where this gets, this is a very sticky situation, man. This is a very sticky situation, because now, not only is Brian Flores suing the NFL pertaining to racist hiring practices that have been taking place in league, but also he makes mention of the Dolphins owner essentially giving him money to tank, saying like, hey, I'll give you an additional $100,000 for every game that you lose so that we can get, a better spot in the draft. Now, if you remember, Brian Flores was fired within the past couple of weeks, and when Stephen Ross came out and made a statement on it, he basically said it was communication issues. Well, I could be dang sure it's a communication issue, because if I'm a head coach, I'm in it to win it. Like the great Herm Edwards says, you play the game to win, period. Owner Stephen Ross is over here like, we do play to win, but at the same time, we need better players. So tank, right? We've seen it happen, of course, in the NBA with the Sixers. Trust the process. And now we're seeing it, of course, rear its ugly head in the NFL. But if Stephen if Brian Flores can provide adequate evidence and information to prove that Stephen Ross was truly bribing him, essentially saying like, "Yo, for every game you lose, I'm gonna give you an extra 100,000," we have an even larger, an even is it larger, an even more crazier issue at hand here, and it can get very wicked. It can get very wicked, ladies and gentlemen. But all in all, this situation is very, it's very sticky because for one, win or lose, Brian Flores after this entire debacle is over may never get another. It's unlikely that Brian Flores is going to get another opportunity to be a head coach in to be a coach, period, probably in the National Football League and maybe even in college. Because that's the tricky thing about this. You know, once again, let's harken back to Cap. Another problem that exists with situations like this is collusion, where essentially owners and front offices get together behind the scenes and they all come in agreement like, yo, we're not gonna sign Colin Kaepernick. We all agree. You're not gonna sign Cap. Okay, you're not gonna sign because we don't need none of that take a knee nonsense going on. Hey, Bengals, Titans, Colts, hey, Cowboys, we good? We all in agreement with that? All right, good. It's hard to prove stuff like that because it's like, unless in the case of a Brian Flores, you have like text messages, you have hard copy proof of teams or front offices communicating with each other and say, all right, no, don't hire Brian Flores on 3. 1, 2, 3, don't hire Brian Flores. Like, unless you have something like that going on, how do you prove it? You know, but ultimately, this may very well change the game because this is the first time where we're starting to see a slivage of hard evidence. This man has a text thread between himself and Bill Belichick. I'm pretty sure whatever offer that Stephen Ross was making to him pertaining to, you know, $100,000 per loss, there has to be maybe a text thread somewhere, or maybe he has a recorded conversation. I don't know. But if he does, this is about to get very wicked. This is about to get very spicy, ladies and gentlemen. But all in all, regardless of what happens, I tip my hat to Brian Flores. Because at the end of the day, you work your butt off to get a job that 1 out of 32 other men have. You work your way up the ranks from being a position coach to an assistant coach to coordinator, and to ultimately you're working your tail off to where you can finally get an opportunity to be the leader of a team, the leader of a group of 52, 53 men, and to help put an organization, a team in position for the ultimate prize, which is a Super Bowl, only to have those dreams tarnished because your front office is over here trying to lose games and you're trying to win them. Your front office is over here basically trying to put all the onus and the blame on you, where all you're trying to do is win football games. It's tough. And it's a problem that, once again, has been clearly going on for a ridiculously long time within the NFL. And I'm going to be very interested to watch this, to stay very close and connected to this story, because, once again, if Brian Flores wins this case, the NFL is going to get flipped upside down on its head, and it's going to get very wicked. It's going to get very wicked. But I tip my hat to this man because he knows what he's doing. He knows what's on the line here. He knows what he's risking. Similar to the Colin Kaepernick. There's a reason why you haven't seen him play in the NFL since he did what he did, because you don't come back from certain things like this. I'm sure that if Brian Flores wants to coach again, he would be able to do so on like a high school, maybe a collegiate level. But win or lose, is going to be hard for me to imagine that he'll ever get another opportunity to coach in the NFL. And the fact that he understands that and he's putting all that on the line tells you how confident he feels in this, in what he's doing in this lawsuit, but moreover, how passionate he feels and how about this issue that is much larger than him and that's been around for some time. And I hope that he wins, man. I really and truly do hope. And like I said, I'm going to be staying very closely connected to the story. But that's my live reaction to it. As it continues to get updated, I'll probably continue to make videos about it. But thank you all for tapping in and tuning in. And as always, if you liked the reaction, please leave a comment in the section below. And we're going to continue to push this thing forward, man. Show some love, leave a like, and also to subscribe for more live reactions to any and all things sports related coming in the near future. I'm Marv. Appreciate y'all. Peace.